Thank you, Chair. My name's Antonia Burke, and I'm from a place called Pilangimpi, or the English name is Garden Point. It's on the Tiwi Islands, which is just north of Darwin in the Northern Territory. There's about 350 people in our community, and there's about 2,500 people living on both islands across 3 community and several outstations. I'm here today as a resident. And in April this year, Tiwi people filed a human rights complaint to NAB over its involvement in financing Santos Barossa gas project, which they want to develop off the coast of the Tiwi Islands, just off at the doorstep of our home. NAB financed this loan to Santos whilst Tiwi people were in the federal court in a dispute over Barossa due to Santos's failure to consult with Tiwi people. NAB failed their due diligence because you didn't come and talk to us. And I'm assuming that you knew we were in the federal court with one of your customers. NAB dismissed Tiwi people's human rights complaint and refused an invitation to have a conversation about the complaint with us on the Tiwi Islands. You concluded that its human rights grievance process without even engaging once with Tiwi people. And you didn't provide any information about what you did during this process. NAB says in its Reconciliation Action Plan that supporting the self-determining aspirations of Indigenous Australians requires respectful and equal partnerships where we listen to the voice of Indigenous Australians to understand what is important to them and where they need our support. We will continue to use our voice and influence to action, change and progress reconciliation through our business relationships to support the things that matter to Indigenous people. Nothing about this process that we've just been through so far has shown respect for our communities. NAB hasn't listened to Tiwi people's voice when we asked for your support with your customers to support the things that matter to us as Indigenous people. NAB has a recent history of completely disregarding the rights of Indigenous people, not just here, but across the world. NAB has loaned to the Coastal GasLink pipeline, a 670-kilometre pipeline in Canada that goes straight through the unceded lands of the Wet'suwet'en and First Nations people. The hereditary chiefs of the Wet'suwet'en Nation fiercely oppose the project and have not provided their free, prior and informed consent. We've travelled all the way here from the Tiwi Islands because when we submitted our complaint based on your grievance mechanism process, which allows people who have a complaint about our human rights, we used your process. And we spent a lot of time writing to you, putting this complaint together. And we're here today to present you with an opportunity to undo some of the harm that you've done to the Tiwi Islands and First Nations people, not just to us, but around the world. Given that your peers at the Commonwealth Bank and Westpac are engaging with us about the human rights complaint at the highest levels, will you commit to a dialogue with us on Tiwi along with the other 2 CEOs?
So, Ross, would you like... Let me just make a couple of comments first. One is, I was hoping that we could get to item 5 so we could open up the whole area of gas, oil and so on, but I don't want to show disrespect to our questioners, so I am going to take this question now, but I would ask anyone else who's got questions just to hold off a little bit longer so we can get to those questions. But we fully understand our obligations for free, prior, informed consent on projects that we finance. And Ross, I wonder if I could just get you to make a few comments as the Chief Executive.
No, thank you very much, and thank you for coming along today. It was a shame we couldn't catch up this morning, given you were in town. I think it is absolutely appropriate that where banks are involved in major developments such as the one that's being proposed by Santos, that the banks would engage in conversations with the Indigenous people and the islanders associated with them. And as I say, where they are involved in those processes, I would expect to make conversation and have those discussions. But as I say, we're involved. We're very clear about what our policy is, and those are stated. And should we be involved, we're very happy to have those conversations.